Hello, everyone. My name is Kieran. Welcome to the first edition of the Newport County pre-match podcast. Just a very simple podcast talking pre-match. And the next game that we've got coming up, which is tomorrow with a, 12:45 kickoff? Yeah, being Newport versus Swindon at Rodney Parade. So I'm joined here by Martin and Nick. Thank you guys for deciding to come along and do this.
You're welcome.
But I want to just kind of start this very simple, very blunt. What are your predictions for the game now tomorrow?
Okay, I'll throw in on there then. But for us to say, because we've obviously got the new the new coach in. Don't quite know how he's going to set up, but I'll go for a 2-0 to Swindon.
Very optimistic. All right, Martin?
Yeah, I'm going to go for a 3-0 Swindon.
I mean, it's not something I'm going to kind of hold a grudge. We haven't exactly been great this season, but it's a very uncertain game because you said you've got your new coach in. We've got our new signings in and haven't played in a little while, but that's similar with most teams in this league. Yeah, I'll be optimistic towards us, and I'll say that we're going to win this 2-0. But do I have severe confidence on that? Maybe. But other than that, the January window, of course, is now recently closed. And to be fully honest with you, I haven't checked many teams in terms of this, but what are your opinions on the arrivals and departures that you guys have had? Starting with Nick, maybe.
What's been really good is, first of all, we didn't lose any of our loanees because they've been key to how we've been going this season. We brought in Tomlinson, who was on loan last season, but got injured. But he's initially on loan with a view to buy at the end of the season. And he's a local lad, so that's really good. We got Jack Kane from Liverpool Academy. Played second half last week. Looks a player.
He's a great.
We've got a Dylan Kadji from Bristol City. Highly rated, only 19, not much league experience. So it'd be interesting to see what he does. And there are two big ones. Fraser Blake Tracy, now signed permanently. He's been on loan. And of course, our goal scorer, Charlie Austin. So that's the main one. So watch out for Charlie tomorrow because he's on a roll. So I expect him to score.
Yeah, Charlie Austin's been it hasn't even just been good for you guys having a goal scorer. Even media-wise, I'm assuming that can only be beneficial to you. Of course, he's been proven in higher leagues than League Two.
Yeah, I think, I just think following from what sort of Nick said, we've had a few departures. Losing the manager to Crawley, and then the time to get Jody Morris in, which I think the fans are excited by. Charlie Austin coming in is a huge thing. We've lost a couple in midfield in terms of Gladwin and Reed. Gladwin was like Marmite to the fans, but I personally really liked him. Reed was an outstanding for us last year, and has gone to Mansfield, which was a bit of a shock and didn't settle. But I think Austin is the marquee signing. I think Morris, we've done well to capture him. Blake Tracy's kind of turned into a fan's favourite, and so we class him as just gets the job done. So I think we're still probably a bit light up front, but I think that's the optimism going into this game tomorrow. In League Two, anyone could beat anyone. We had a really tough game against Gillingham last week. Who are on a turn of form as well. So, but I think new manager, some decent signing. Tomlinson coming in is really good in terms of being local. So, all in all, even after losing 2 managers in a period of 6-7 months, I think overall we're in a good position, really.
Yeah. I mean, the main one that catches my eye is kind of an outsider. That, of course, being Charlie Austin and Jack Kane. That's entirely because he's been on loan with us, and he was a player that most Newport fans wanted on a permanent. But of course, it's a high demand in terms of wages, money, all of that kind of stuff. But yeah, it sounds like you've made some very solid business. The head coach, I've heard the name before, but I'm not going to say that I know anything really about him. But no, it's definitely a very good window that you guys have had. But obviously, you guys, I believe you're in playoffs just about, right? I say that you're in playoffs, but it's a situation of the playoff spots and mid-table is separated by about 4 points. Do you vision yourself actually finishing in those playoff spots, or are you going to try and say that you can maybe push those automatics, as difficult as that would be?
I'll come in there. Yeah, we're sitting 6 at the moment, and it is really tight. But once we got Morris in and Charlie Austin, I've said on our podcast, we're aiming for top 3, and it's in reach. There's 19 odd games to go. The only slight worry we have at the moment, we're a bit like centre back wise, very, very young centre backs. Blake Tracy, who's a fullback, has been filling in at centre half, which to me hits the balance of the team because he's much better as a left back. We've got Clayton, who was at Liverpool. We signed him earlier in the season. He's absolute class, but he's been out injured. We've got Brennan on loan from Sheffield Wednesday, and one of our young players coming through, Minton. So not quite sure what the lineup's going to be Saturday. So that's what everybody was asking for, was an experienced centre half. So to me, that's possibly going to be a problem for us. But apart from that, midfield, we're strong. And forward line, we've actually got quite an abundance of forwards. It's just getting that clicking. And with Charlie pushing it, I think that will make the difference. So, yeah, I'm definitely going for top 3.
Very interesting.
Yeah, I don't know. I keep going back to Bristol Rovers this time last year. I don't know where they were. I think they were probably 9th and 10th, and went on a charge. And I think, the reality is in February, you're starting to get into the business end of the season.
Yeah, definitely.
So I would like to say playoffs. Leighton Orient have started to falter. Stevenage looks strong. Northampton are sort of there or thereabouts, but there's a lot of the season to play. I don't know the exact number of games, and I didn't realise Kane had been at Newport. So I've just had a quick look and can see he played 25 games for you, and he came on last week and looked really strong. And I think with Clayton having come from Liverpool, although they're young, you can just see how technically strong they are on the ball. They are just amazing to watch. And last year we had Brandon Cooper on loan from Swansea, who was a proper strong, central defender. He's gone on loan to Forest Green. So I kind of agree with Nick. That's probably the one position we could be weaker on. But, I think tomorrow will be interesting to see. But similar to last season, we have got the ingredients to get to promotion, but football's not as easy as that, is it? And I think in this league, anyone can beat anyone, and that's the challenge. But yeah, and time will tell, because Newport have been on a bad run as well, haven't they? I didn't realise. And you've got a good manager in McLaughlin who did well at Bristol Rovers and then went to Mansfield. Newport's a difficult place to go to. So, I think the form is all over the place at the moment in the division. So, time will tell.
Yeah, I was having a talk about this on the EFL Debate podcast yesterday. We were talking about, of course, Leighton slipping in terms of form, then playing against us. It seems that we have the way to play against them. We beat them once and we drew to them at home. But I feel with the playoffs and just with the league at this point, you could close your eyes and look anywhere from first all the way down to bottom of the league. Maybe not bottom, but more like, mid-table, and you can kind of say any of those teams can finish in playoff spots. Stevenage, I feel, might win the league. If not, they will. I feel like they are a team on form, and Leighton are kind of falling off. And I don't really see where they will get that back. But another question I want to ask, it's less about the league and signings and all that. This game, by a few Newport fans, is being classified as a derby because it's the closest game that we have to go on an away day, and I'm assuming it's the closest for you guys to have on a away day as well. So, do you think that this game means a bit more than, let's just say, a game up north, just by feelings, or is it a situation of any game is as important as another?
I think for us at the moment, yeah, any game is important. I mean, we've really lost all our derby games with Rovers, Forest Green, Oxford, Cheltenham, Wickham, all the ones that are sort of in close proximity geographically have gone. And obviously, as we've said, we'll bring a big following down to you tomorrow. So it is going to be like pretty much a derby atmosphere, especially if you feel, the home fans. But the thing that it's always a difficult place to get a result. And I was looking at past results. We won there last season with an own goal, so that sort of shows that bit of luck we need. And in previous results was a loss, draw, loss. And the last time prior to that we won was Boxing Day 1980, and Cammy scored, Chris Kamara. So it shows what a difficult place it is to come to you. And obviously there were lots of games, lots of times in that period that we didn't play each other because we were in different leagues. But just from that, it's going to be a hard game. So even though I predicted a 2-0, I think it is going to be a tough game, and he's going to really have to get them fired up, because to stay in that hunt for third, we need to get 3 points on Saturday. Simple as that.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. I don't see it as a derby because of the proximity. And I've been to all the away games, because I live in Bristol. It's quicker for us to get to Newport than it is to go to the home games. But it's hostile in a good way. We're bringing over 1,000. You'll have a good attendance. It's quite a hostile environment in that sense, in terms of like banter. And as Nick said, we don't tend to get results there. It's a tricky place to go. But I think, for us, the big rivals are obviously Oxford, and Bristol Rovers, and even Gillingham's got an old past to it. But I think it's one that, we're going in saying we're going to win because we've got a new manager. But the reality is it's just and I don't know what the pitch is like this season. Last season it was fine. I remember when we went there with Richie Wellens, and with the rugby, it had been like sand, and he was moaning about it. So I think in past seasons, the pitch was always a bit of an equaliser. And I think Harry McCurdy last season had a big fallout with one of your, I can't remember his name, we called him Voldemort.
Yeah,
do you remember?
Yeah, he's only about 45, isn't he?
Yeah, and it just brought a little bit.
I'm like Kevin Allison, right? That's
yeah.
And there was real that added some real spice to it. But I don't see it as a derby. Just a proper game of football.
Yeah. Under Coughlin, we've definitely stabilised this season. We've got a lot more draws than we have losses. Some of these draws, we've had so many conversations about refereeing decisions as Newport fans, especially in those two most recent home games, but we've made some very solid signings up top, being the main one being Charlie McNeil, which I didn't really think that we were going to get over. So I guess the two questions that I'm asking here is, one, do you know anything about the signings we have made? And two, what are your opinions on them?
I'm really sorry, but no, I don't. You'll have to fill me in, so I can't really comment on that. Only that if you've got new forwards in, as I said, Ellery is probably the centre of our defence, so that doesn't bode well. But we shall see.
Yeah, I would say the same. I think it's more. I know about your manager because I remember from his time at Bristol City. I kind of remember you signed someone from Man United.
Yep, that was Charlie McNeil. Yeah, he was heavily linked to a lot of League One clubs, so it's kind of a situation of there's many fans now saying that he's going to be the best striker in the division, which arguably it could be a bad thing, especially with how young he is, with the expectations of him now.
Yeah, and we had that last year with Barry, who we took on loan from Aston Villa, and came with his track record of being the first English player to be in the academy at Barcelona. So you kind of get all the hype, but League Two is proper, is a little bit old school men's football, and it's quite hard going. And then your striker, I'm going to probably, is it Bogle or someone you got a really good?
Bogle, yeah.
So I know he's dangerous. But I think what you did touch on, which is correct, and we suffered with this last week, it's just the standard of refereeing. It's a professional sport. There's a lot at stake, and the EFL still participate with part-time referees, sorry, and it just doesn't add up. The amount of money being invested into these divisions, and some of the decisions. We were on the end of a penalty last week that never was. Sometimes it goes for you, sometimes it goes against. But I think that one of the biggest challenges that we're facing, and the EFL need to address, is just the quality of officiating. Because it's expensive to go to football, and whether it's time wasting, poor decisions, it is entertainment at the end of the day, and the refereeing is damaging the product. Frankly, it really frustrates me. But I'm going off on a tangent, but it's only because you mentioned referees.
In all fairness, I am glad you have that kind of same opinion as most Newport fans, because we've had situations, particularly against Crawley, where we nearly got a penalty. We had two arguable penalty chances at the end, and it ended out with Coughlin and the Crawley manager having a bit of an argument, and they both got sent off, which again, that was arguable on whether those were reds. But no, I'm glad you did pick up on that, because refereeing in this division at times has been completely woeful.
Yeah, I think. Sorry, Martin. Part of the problem is a lot of it goes back to VAR in the Premier, because they have. My understanding is in that room that they officiate from for VAR, they have 4 or 5 referees in there. So if they're having that many referees per game, that's taking a hell of a lot of experienced referees out of the picture. So therefore, there's less referees coming through, and they're more inexperienced. And where are they going to sit? They're going to sit in League Two, and I think that's part of the problem, that we're not getting experienced referees, because it's a knock-on effect from VAR and how that operates.
Yeah, I agree, and I think ultimately, if you look at the EFL and football's a full-time sport. National League, even the North and South. And it costs a lot of money to run a club, and it costs a lot of money, to go and watch. And I don't know what the EFL's finances are like, but I suspect they could afford full-time referees. And when you get a good one, and that's probably a handful in a season, the game flows, and you often come away saying, "Good game, God, wasn't the referee really good?"
Yeah.
So I think, in terms of hurdles that we're kind of, League Two and League One, the National League, are facing at the moment. What is the sustainability of running clubs? And the wage cap, and two, it's just to get the officiating, because ultimately, kind of what I do really respect is supporting your local club. And as much as Oxford rile us, I know colleagues at work that go to Oxford with their families. I go to Swindon with my family. I know Bristol Rovers peoples that go with their family. There be Newport. And ultimately, if football's going to continue, you need that next generation to keep coming through. And I think sometimes the EFL and the way that they run the clubs, run the leagues, are just a bit short-sighted with that, because it is entertainment at the end of the day. And if you've got a goalkeeper wasting time, or play acting or whatever, it becomes a poor spectacle. So
yeah, I've got to agree with you entirely on that. And I find it interesting when Nick says about the 5 referees, of course, being there behind for VAR in the Premier League, because the amount of VAR decisions that go viral because they wondered why they're so poor. I don't think any division really has those good kind of refereeing decisions. You're always going to get the odd game where you just have an awful referee and nothing goes your way.
Yeah, and I think the sport's so quick. If you're watching it live in the ground, it's quite challenging. But the handball last week, everyone could tell on the ground that they hit the guy in the face. But I think I think some of the decision making, one, it's so quick, but then with VAR it becomes so pedantic, where they're literally looking at a minuscule line, and and it's about those tolerances, and that's where we know they need to resolve that. So anyway, sorry, I'm going off track massively.
I like that we went from Newport Swindon to referees. I'm in a way that I am very glad that that's happened, because if you're going to be talking about a game and then you're going on the tangent about how bad refereeing decisions are, then you can clearly tell something's not right.
Yeah.
But this game now, of course, it's one that personally I am really looking forward to, especially with us not playing football last week and us having our postponed game. But other than that, I don't think there's really many other questions I do want to ask. So if you guys would like to give any kind of final thoughts on the game.
I mean, from my point of view, I'm a bit envious that Martin's going and I'm not. So I didn't get a ticket, because obviously we're just so interested to see how Morris sets the team up. I think that's the big thing for us. He's talked a good talk this week in press conferences. He has been sensible in saying he's not going to sort it in 2 or 3 days, and it's not going to be sorted in 2 or 3 months, but it is what it is. So I'm sure the players have been put through it this week. Hopefully he hasn't confused them too much, and then we'll see how it pans out on Saturday. So just really looking forward to it. So hopefully it's a great game, and as I said, we come out with those 3 points.
I was lucky to get a ticket. I was hovering on the internet on the day. I'm going. My 19-year-old daughter, who's at university, she's a season ticket holder as well, as is my dad, my brother and my niece. So we all go together. And I just think for me, for you with Newport, I think what I do like in football with Swindon is that the common thread is that we all support Swindon. So we're all fans together, and you should look out. We all disagree, but that's our common denominator. So we all look after each other. And I think when I come across people and I'll say to them, "Oh, do you watch football? Who do you support?" And if I met you and you said you support Newport because that's your local club, I think there's a huge amount of respect, no matter what the rivalries are, that you support your local club. And if you live in Manchester, support Manchester. But if you live in Bristol and you support Rovers or City, or you Swindon or Newport or Oxford or whoever, I just think it says a lot about people when they support their local club, and rivalries apart, you respect people that go to games and keep it going. So that's kind of partly why I wanted to do this today, just to wish you all the best for the rest of the season. And Nick and I are opening that we go up in the autos this year.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, we'll see if you guys can end up getting a result at Rodney Parade. I could definitely see this game ending as much as I have predicted a 2-0 win. I could definitely see this game ending like a 0-0 or a 1-1 draw. As much as I do hate to say it, I definitely could see that.
Often happens, but we'll be messaging you as soon as the game's finished if we've won. That's for sure.
yeah. You know what? Don't worry. I'll message you when we win. It's fine.
Yeah. Okay. We'll look out for it.
Yeah. All right. All the best, Kieran. Cheers.
Cheers. Yeah, it's been a pleasure, Kieran. So, as I say, all the best for most of the season, but not so much tomorrow.
Likewise.
Yeah. Right. Cheers, pal.
Well done. Take care.
Take care.
Bye.